I just need one more. And we're missing some people that were in the first meeting. I'm assuming they're just taking a little bit.
Carly and Abby, I'm just curious, which counties did you do in the last meeting?
I'll give that update as soon as we get into our burn discussion, Linda.
We're good to go.
Great. Good afternoon. My name is Abby Stamp. My pronouns are she, her. The executive director of Measure 110. And I will be assisting Dharma today with facilitation for today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or get on our interested parties email list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. That email address and more information about the council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space to introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency. And if you are a subject matter expert, your area of expertise. I'll now turn it over to Donna for opening remarks.
Hi, folks. Welcome. So today we have still a lot to do, but we have the tri-chair election, both the nominations and the election itself, and then we'll be doing more county burn funding. But I'll pass it over to Carly for attendance.
Thank you, Dharma. Okay, me, are you here?
Here.
Hi, me. Amy?
Here.
Hey, Amy. Caroline?
Here.
Dharma?
Here.
Hubert? Maybe coming late. Hunter?
Here.
Jackie? Josh? Keisha?
Here.
Hey, Keisha. Leticia?
Here.
Linda?
Here.
Mason? Melissa?
Here.
Morgan?
Here.
Ryan?
Here.
Sabrina?
Here.
And Zeb.
Here.
Well, I need to fix my formula to make sure we have.
Carly,
Oh,
I'm here
weird.
too.
Annalise, I'm so
That
sorry.
helps your
I
numbers.
have your boxes grayed out because you don't vote and I always skip over you. Maybe I need to come up with something different. We're at quorum with 14. Back to you, Dharma.
Great. So up next we have the tri-chair elections. We're going to do a self-nomination. I don't know if there's anything else I need to share here. So the schedule right now that we do meet outside of this meeting, I know that may be helpful for folks to know, is that we do have a tri-chair huddle every Friday and every Tuesday. These are pretty short meetings. They're not nearly as long as this meeting, but it's usually an hour or so on Fridays and then usually 30, 45 minutes on Tuesdays. Um, just want to let folks know that so you can estimate your time. I think we can all work together on something else if that doesn't work, but yeah. Keisha, do you have a question?
No, I want to self-nominate.
Well, you beat me to it. Let's, folks want to self-nominate, go ahead and raise your hand, or you can unmute and just nominate yourself. After everyone's nominated, we'll maybe have folks share a little bit about why they want to be chair. All right. Keisha, we still need one more chair if anyone wants to. Throw their name in the hat, in the ring.
I'm muted. Leticia, were you wanting to self-nominate still?
Yes, I
Okay.
would also like to self-nominate myself. I just have one question. We meet Tuesdays, tri-chairs meet Tuesdays. Do we have a set time that we meet?
It's at 11 a.m. and then at 1 p.m. on Fridays.
Okay, thank you, Dharma.
Morgan?
I would like to self-nominate.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Let's check the chat. Let's make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. All right. Well, Caroline?
I would like to nominate Zeb.
All right. Zeb, do you accept Caroline's nomination?
I can't turn down Caroline.
Okay. Well, while we're nominating others, I want to nominate Hunter because I think Hunter's shown really great leadership. But Hunter, do you accept my nomination?
I would love to, but having a 6-month-old newborn means that like if I had those times open for those meetings, I would be flying home to see my baby. And so respectfully, like it was everything for me not to nominate myself, but also with the people that nominated themselves, I think we're going to be in good hands.
Great. Thank you, Hunter. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to folks that self-nominate or did not, rather, to give us a little bit about themselves, why they want to be a tri-chair. I'll start with Keisha.
Sorry,
Keisha? Oh, no worries.
down to hear me better. My name is Keisha. I'm a person with lived experience. I've worked in the field for over 10 years of behavioral health. I'm really passionate about this from the ground up, from outreach to at the state level with legislation, policy, and everything. I have been on this council since the inception. I'm very well versed in how it goes. I was a tri-chair previously some years ago. And I'm a person that holds many identities and also represents many identities. And the voice for the people who are most impacted by the war on drugs. I would be happy to serve. I have been probably relentlessly doing this work with these applications for the last couple of months. I probably haven't missed any meetings, might have been late a couple, but probably haven't missed any meetings. I'm very invested in this work, the Measure 1 Council, and our folks getting the resources and services they need.
Thank you, Keisha. And I'm going to pass it off to Leticia. Oh, I'm sorry, Caroline, did you have your hand up for something?
Yeah, when everyone's talking, I mean, can they say where they live? I just want to make sure that we're looking at the representation throughout the state.
Yes, Keisha.
I'm in Portland, Oregon, Multnomah County. Multnomah County.
Thank you. Go ahead, Leticia.
Okay, my name is Leticia. I self-nominated myself because I'm really passionate about doing this work. I've have lived experience with addiction and recovery, and I've served on this council since the council started. I really like taking on leadership positions, and I have some availability in my time, so I would absolutely love to be able to serve as a tri-chair. I live in Eagle Point, Oregon. It's outside, it's in Southern Oregon. It's outside of the Medford area in Jackson County. Thank you.
Thanks, Leticia. Zeb?
Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to say, with everybody that's self-nominated, like what a great group of people, and you guys can't go wrong with voting for any one of them. But I just like to say, I'm really passionate about this work. I have 16 years in recovery myself. In 2011, I took a job with my tribe as a counselor and trainee. And then within a few years, became the clinical supervisor um, of that program, which is a huge milestone for myself and for our tribe to be able to hire our own tribal people to fill out, those positions. Um, and then since then, I've been able to start my own practice with 3 other tribal members. Um, and it's been an amazing experience. We're one of the few culturally specific, linguistically specific providers in the state of Oregon for Native communities, which I'm very proud of. Over this, you know, I've dedicated to being here as much as possible. And this is such important work that we're doing. So I think it's got a unique perspective. Just like everybody who's nominated has a unique perspective and a powerful perspective. Um, but this is such important work, and if you choose me, I'll be, very grateful for that, and I would uphold the position to the utmost of my power. And if you don't choose me, that's okay too, because we got 3 other amazing candidates. So thank you.
Thanks, Zeb. And I'm gonna pass it off. Oh, Zeb, did you say where you live right now?
I'm in Newport, Oregon, on the coast.
Thank you. And Morgan.
Uh, Hello. I have also been here since the very beginning, like so many of us. I'm so impressed by the retention of this group. And it's just been so amazing lately to see us really coming together and advancing the work and just like really feeling like group unity and like common cause. That's just been really, really inspiring. I am a drug policy and addiction medicine researcher, currently in a PhD. I've been arrested for drug possession everywhere from Multnomah to Washington County to Lane to the Warm Springs Reservation. I know, right? Um, and I knew then, I didn't know what the solution was, but I knew it wasn't that, because so fast I went from, I was struggling with addiction, but like I was still going to work. I was still going to school because I got military education benefits, but incentives. And so fast after going to jail, I just started going to jail so many times. And I lost everything. And I ended up homeless. And then I got sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. And, I lost my mom to an overdose and 4 of my best friends. And I just like didn't want to bury anyone else. So I didn't like fully understand what public health meant, but like I knew when I got out of prison, that's what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to work in the overdose crisis. And I did that. And just like months after I got out, I got appointed to the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. And because I've always been really interested in policy, but like I never wanted to forget like the boots on ground, like remember where I came from. So I founded my own overdose prevention nonprofit. And I worked with like a record label. So I like toured and worked with artists and in all these different cities. And that was like one of the most inspiring things because now I've worked in 26 different states in I think 51 different cities, partnering with the harm reduction organizations everywhere we go, and just seeing all the different ways of doing things and being able to like pick out some of the best from even all over the world, and then I got to travel internationally and just seeing solutions for some of the stuff we act like are intractable problems. And they're just not. There really are solutions out there. And so I, primarily identify as a harm reductionist in my daily life. But now I move more and more into research because I feel like, the evidence will save us if we follow it. But I absolutely do not care because we will be in good hands no matter what.
Thank you, Morgan. And where are you at? Where do you currently reside, Morgan?
I hail from Gresham, Oregon. I'm currently back and forth from San Diego, but my classes are all going online, so I'm coming home because I can't afford to live there.
Welcome back. All right. So I think we'll just run it through like attendance, and folks will just pick their top nominee, and then we'll run back through again and do our second one, or is that how we want it to work?
That is what we are trying to figure out right now.
Okay.
Shannon, do you want to jump in if you could, if you don't mind? Help.
Hi, Shannon O'Fallon, DOJ. We were just trying to remember how we did it last time. And I don't know if somebody remembers. I mean, I was wondering whether or not take attendance and people could rank top two and then, and then sort of do a runoff. Maybe that works since we have such a big slate. Or maybe Carolyn remembers. She has her hand up.
I mean, there's 3 openings. I thought they were rotating.
There's 2.
So there's 2 openings right now, not
Yeah.
3. So there's only 2, huh? Bummer. Now we only have 50-50 chance. I mean 50-50. I mean, we could only vote for 2. Can we not do it on the chat? Or do we have to do it verbally?
We
You have to vote publicly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they can't read our chat. This could be hard. Now I'm okay.
I don't know if we figured out when the next election is.
I think we did. I remember, so we keep 1. So Dharma, so you still stay on?
Yeah.
Okay,
For
good.
now, and think mine's up at the end of March.
Okay. Oh, that's soon. That's next month.
I know, right?
Okay, so we have 2 openings right now, correct?
Correct.
So Dharma, where are you living now?
I'm in Corvallis, but my spot's not open.
I know, but I'm just thinking
Oh,
of,
right. Yeah,
Oh, right.
Corvallis.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think if I remember right, we did do it verbally, and it's really heartbreaking when we can
Let's
only
do our
have
top 2, and then we can run off from there.
okay.
If there's would that so they pick their number 1 and then their number 2.
Okay. And do y'all want to do that with attendance or raise hands or not attendance, but down the
down the roster for the easiest way to go.
okay. So when I call your name, tell me your top 2. Am I getting this right? Okay. On me.
Lakeisha would be first, and then Zeb.
Amy,
Isha and Zeb.
Caroline,
I would, oh my goodness, this is hard. I would go with Zeb and then Leticia.
Dharma,
Zeb and Leticia.
is Hubert here? Hunter,
Keisha and Zeb.
Jackie? Nope, that's right. Keisha,
Me and Zeb.
Leticia,
Me and Morgan.
Linda,
Leticia and Zeb.
Mason,
Morgan and Leticia.
Melissa,
Zeb and Keisha.
Morgan,
Me and Leticia.
Ryan,
Leticia and Zeb.
Sabrina,
Zeb and Leticia.
Zeb,
I'd go with Morgan and Keisha.
okay. Our top two are Zeb and Leticia. Do we want to continue? I'm not sure what Shannon was saying.
Carly, can you call out? So I have 1, 2, 3. So it was 6 for Lakeisha, right? 2.
Yes, 6 for Lakeisha, 4 for Morgan, 8 for Leticia, and 10 for Zeb.
So maybe somebody can make a motion based on the top vote getters, right? So the addition of the tri-chairs would be a motion to appoint Zeb and Leticia. And if that passes, then I think we're good. I don't.
That would work for me. Do you have a question, Sabrina?
I was going to do the motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I would like to do a motion to vote Zeb and Leticia in as the other two tri-chairs.
Second.
Thank you, Hunter.
Okay. You ready to vote on that motion?
Yep.
Okay, Ami, how do you vote? Sorry, was that a yes? I couldn't catch it.
No.
Oh, no. Amy?
And it's for who and who?
Zeb and Leticia.
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha? She drop out. Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb.
Yes.
And that passes with 12.
Welcome. Congratulations, new tri-chairs, and thank you everyone else who was nominated for all of your hard work. I'm going to pass it back to Abby for voting decisions.
Thank you. Congratulations, everybody. I have a couple of, I can barely read my handwriting. Oh yeah, 3 things. One is I wanted to let you know I heard from Ron today, and effective immediately, he has resigned from the OAC. So I just asked Shannon while you were discussing your tri-chairs, and I'm going to go back to the list of applicants for folks who applied for these positions and just sort of start there. But I'll work with the tri-chairs and DOJ, of course, and get that seat filled as soon as possible. And I wanted to, before we jump in, I wanted to remind everybody that these meetings are public. You know that. And applicants and other interested folks are watching our conversation. And that the discussion and the applicant should really be based on the information submitted in the applications. So either, and I'll do this reminder again with the review panel who's continuing to meet as well, in tandem with you all. That when you make statements about of things that are outside of the application, particularly when that information is either not been fact checked or really kind of part of the narrative that the applicant is providing, it could create a perception by those who are watching that the decisions being made are not based in fact and potentially on inaccurate information. So, you know, I said this before, and I'll just keep saying it, as really hard to do because we all come to this work with our own networks and people and organizations and things, you know, and expertise, but then just I'll keep encouraging caution to ensure that the application and the information included in it is what is always up. So I just wanted to do that reminder and to do some celebrating because we're gonna talk about where folks went this morning. And today is February 12th. And does anybody remember who was successfully voted upon this morning, an hour ago?
Josephine.
Yeah, we did Jefferson, we did Josephine, and we didn't finish.
Lincoln and Jefferson.
Yeah, and we didn't finish Josephine.
Not yet. We're going to pick up right where we left off with Josephine.
Yeah.
But look at that, 11 counties. Oh, I'm sorry. No, me and math. It is 17 counties. So kudos. And it is, I'll just keep keeping track. And we've got a beautiful 2.5 hours together today, and we'll be sure I'll watch y'all. And I really appreciate those of you who feel comfortable to have your cameras on so we can really be in meeting and community together. And when I see folks needing to, you know, we'll be taking breaks, promise. We're not going to just plow through for 2.5 hours. And the other thing is, y'all are catching up with the review panel. Slogging through Lane County, which is incredibly challenging. So they're going to need to pick up the pace. And anyway, so I am going to share my screen, and what you'll see at the bottom are tabs with counties' names on it. If the tab is yellow, that means it is not ready for you yet. Either the information isn't prepared or we haven't had the review panel yet. And then the green are counties that you already have decided upon. So we're going to jump right back into Josephine and share my screen. Okay, so I will do my best to bring the folks who were unable to join us earlier this morning back, reach it into right where we left off. But and I'll have Zeb and Keisha and Morgan and others who are really engaged in this conversation about the real challenge with this situation is kind of what it always is. There's not enough money to go around, and the conversation ended on focusing on funding current providers. So this is the fourth of all of the tabs. Would y'all like me to go really quickly through the whole landscape of Josephine real quick so you know kind of where for folks who missed us this morning? I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. I'm going to do it super duper fast.
We might also want to call for conflicts just because there's people here that weren't here this morning.
Okay. All right, because I learned and then I forgot. So calling for conflicts in Josephine County, ADAPT, Boulder Care, Family Nurturing Center, Grace Roots, HIV Alliance, Max's Mission, On Track, Options for Southern Oregon, Oregon Recovers, the Grants Pass Sobering Center, Insight Alliance, and True Colors Recovery. So raise your hand if you've got an actual or potential conflict, starting with Dharma.
I have an actual conflict of interest with HIV Alliance.
Thank you, Dharma. Anybody else? Okay, and just as a reminder, just like Dharma just did, you turn off your camera and don't participate in the conversation. And then if we need a quorum, if there are not enough people for a quorum, then you're able to vote at the end of the discussion. Okay, so this is where we're starting with Josephine County. As a reminder, the applicants who've already applied and are receiving funds in our burns, they are in orange because they're reapplying. Green are the service areas that both of the reviewers who reviewed the application recommended yes, fund this applicant for the service area. Green, blue is one reviewer recommended, and orange is neither of the two. And I'll remind you here are the program costs in column J. This is what the panel review recommended. It recommended removing some existing grantees, including ADAPT. I need to scroll over to the right, I'm sorry. ADAPT, True Colors, the Sobering Center, moved to remove those. And had a cap at each service area of $1 million. And I'll zoom in here a little bit for those specific providers. Oh, and it brought the brought the 70% of the asks down to 10 million, which is, sorry, back up here, what the formula is 10.084. And it's a medium county with a $3 million base. And here is the bigger spreadsheet with your priorities, which is folks who assert they are culturally specific and all existing providers. And so that's what you've got here. The conversation this morning was, y'all were thinking that starting with existing providers is the best place to start, because this is a particularly painful county with a lot of good applicants and information and desire to support folks in need, but not enough funds to do so. And then over here on the right, there were lots of conversations about what would it take to get these applicants down to an amount that meets the formula. And although Caroline had hoped it would 65 or 68%, 65 or something, but ended up being 58% of their reduced ask. So starting to feel like that soup's getting pretty thin. And where we left off the conversation was about the CMP, which is Options for Southern Oregon. I highlighted before we left that they are one of the more robust applicants for SUD specifically. And there was also a conversation about the need for housing in Josephine County and folks wanting to really make sure that the housing asks were left as intact as possible, for lack of a better term. And so we really left the conversation with about the OAC members and whether or not including the CMHP is the right move. Anybody else from this morning want to catch us up? Go ahead, Leticia.
I think I just wanted to kind of reiterate what you were just saying, Abby, how Options of Southern Oregon, they most of all of their ask is in SUD, and I don't think we should deduct from their SUD necessarily. And then would you mind scrolling up? I'm curious up to the okay, so if we go just up a little bit further, when I look at the scoring of the applications, like True Colors Recovery scored really well, but for some reason they weren't on the panel review recommendation. And so I was just wondering if there was more information on why they weren't on the recommendation. And my other question was, I've got the grassroots applications pulled up, and I'm wondering where I can find how much of the first time round, how much of the funding they used from what we gave them the first time around.
Yes, I know exactly where to find that. It's in the Excel workbook, and the third tab over is called Past Measure 110 Recipient Information or Form.
Oh,
At the very top, yep, across the top, it's got all the service areas and it's got grant amount and amount expended or amount left. But remember, that was submitted on or before October 4th. So that's
2024.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at that. Thank you, Abby.
And to answer Leticia's questions about True Colors Recovery, I don't remember. Does anybody here remember?
I remember because we were so much over budget, and HIV Alliance works with the same population as True Colors. We just stuck with the existing provider.
Thanks, Keisha. Next hand up is
Yeah, just like to kind of add to what Leticia was saying. We do need SUD treatment, so it's not a good idea to completely eliminate options out of there because of that.
Sabrina?
Yeah, so Options is the community mental health provider, correct?
Correct.
So I'm comfortable with even for the SUD because that's 4 million, correct? So I make sure
But let me scroll to the right.
Okay.
So you can see kind of what we're having to reduce to at this 58% level. That brings them down to 1.5. Because 58, well, it's a lot less. And also taking out any admin and any their total reduction would have been 1.7. And then we brought them down below the $3 million cap.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Yep, no problem. Keisha.
Sorry.
Oh, no, okay, Leticia.
I just wanted to comment that I think HIV Alliance is geared towards assisting people that are living with HIV and recovering from HIV, and True Colors serves the LGBTQIA community, and so I think it's serves different populations. And then I did.
Alliance.
Excuse me.
I said, so does HIV Alliance. They're really gender. I can't think of the word for it, but yeah.
Is that from the application?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And then I was looking over the the proposed budget for grassroots, and it looks like they were awarded $1.7 million. They did not utilize all of the money that was awarded to them. They utilized $847,000. So the funding that they did not use was $950,000. So I do want to point that out as well.
Carolyn?
Yeah, I think where we left it this morning, I might be wrong, but there was some concern, the fact that we not reduced anything from housing. And I understand that, but every county has the option of, since the governor focuses on housing, there's been a lot of money given out by the community housing services. So I'm not really sure by us saying that by increasing housing or not to take away from housing is really irrelevant, because of the fact that the hard thing about this whole process is the fact that we don't know what other type of money is coming into the counties. We don't have that. I know what's happening with the tribes. I don't know anymore what's happening with the counties. So, I mean, this is really a hard process because no one's getting anything, especially here, close to what they need. And again, who was just saying that they didn't spend all their money? Which entity was that did not spend all their money from last time?
I want to make sure I get the name right. Abby, can you scroll up on the spreadsheet? Thank you so much. Grace Roots.
Okay, and are they on that second one?
Yes, they're here at line
So
53.
are we allowing for carryover? Someone from the OHA, are we
That's-
allowed?
We're in the middle of that conversation about whether that is feasible.
Okay.
Amy has an insistent wave.
I am, because I did the same thing, and a company that was a prior recipient still had money left over. There's a few of them. And I was told that they still have till May and maybe using those funds up by then. So we're not really needing to get hung up on the fact that they have a little bit of extra money there. And if they do have extra
Same point Amy just made.
Caroline?
So I thought our agreement was for 18 months. Is it different for the tribes? Because I thought ours went through June 30th, 2025.
Yes, these goes through June 30th, 2025.
You know, there's carryover already.
We don't. We don't. But the grant administrators are working with the providers on their level of spending and speed of spending. And we're having some, some planning to make sure that the dollars are spent down in appropriate ways and then addressing what if there is money left over. So those are conversations we have started, carryover conversations when we have this week. So, and I don't have a direction or answer to provide yet. So here we are. Josephine County. So the consensus so far is focusing on existing providers. And I will share that based on the conversations and these decisions to date in my short tenure is that you have indicated you want to vote on the dollar amount and the provider, and that it's going to be OHA's job to go back to these providers and really work with them. So just as an example, hey, HIV Alliance, you asked for X millions of dollars, and what the OAC is able to gift you is 1 million. Are you still able to do screening and housing and harm reduction? Or what service areas might you not be able to do? Or how many people fewer will you be serving? And to really work on building out the burn using the money you've approved and the providers you've approved in a way that all the service areas are covered, and we're also not causing excessive harm to providers. We know this is going to be painful. But I just appreciated the conversation about not having expectations that like On Track is going to be able to do all 6 service areas with a significant reduction that is different from their ask. So I'm going to bring us back to the right side over here, looking at these heartbreaking but accurate figures. In order to get within the formula, you would have to bring the amounts down to a 58% level. It doesn't have to be equitable among each provider. And these are the dollar amounts. There's, everything is at least almost 500,000. I know over 4 years, that's not a lot. But here are those dollar amounts there. Now, if you want to move some of this around or remove something or add something. So I know this is really painful, and I'm just trying to agitate the conversation forward a little bit and get your thoughts about what's the least bad way to move forward with this in this situation. Let me get back to the pink. There we go. Thoughts? Amy.
I mean, this is the only way it'll work.
No, there's lots of other ways it will work. But if you want to fund all of the providers, these are the levels of reductions that are going to be needed. Sabrina? Oh,
Sorry.
did you have more, Amy, before I call on Sabrina?
Can I see the areas again that they'll serve? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sabrina.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we just, because I know before we went to break that we were Zeb put a idea on the table, and then I was looking at who else would be a provider if we took that said service out, and then there would only be one. So I answered my own question. Thank you.
Caroline?
I think it's very painful, but I think the most fair is the one we're looking at with the 58%, and that's just so hard wrenching. But that would include the existing providers, and so I think that unfortunately might be the fairest one to go with.
Thank you, Caroline. Hunter?
I'm wondering, the DAP doesn't have anything in their line for SUD, but they had a significant amount in program cost. I'm wondering if they have some of their, because I know Adapt traditionally, I don't know what they wrote in their grant because I didn't read the application, but I'm wondering if they had something. Well, no, they didn't have too much in their program costs. Okay.
So what we're looking at here, and Kathy, correct, or Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, is when applicants have a $0 and the cell has a color, blue means one of the two providers recommended, they indicated they wanted to provide services in that service area on their application. They just didn't have any money built into their budget.
Yeah.
Mason?
Something that I'm noticing on the side of this grid, as we're all, sad that Ron and his great wisdom is no longer with us. In his panel review recommendation, he had a note here about making requests over $1 million brought down to an even million. And I wonder if we were to apply that logic to what we're currently looking at, if that would make the math nicer. I'm like not a math guy, but I do respect Ron a fair bit and think of him as a pretty clever guy.
Looking at the 58%, already very few of those numbers are way over a million. And that motion was to reduce each service area to no more than $1 million. So going back.
Excuse me, I misunderstood.
Yeah. So like this 4 mil, 1.4, 1.5 brought all those down to $1 million even. Here, I'll show you. Here we go. So here you see million.
And just to confirm what you said earlier, Abby, Adapt did apply for all the service areas.
Oh, thanks, Jason. Was there any additional, just thinking about SUD, SUD in this community, did they have anything under milestones about how many people they would be serving in SUD on their milestone tab?
Yeah, just one moment.
Thank you. I think it would be helpful to get a sense of kind of what the scope might be, if there's anything.
So for the SUD, their milestones, individuals served the first year would be 120, services provided 1100, and then going up through, let's see, the next year is 115, 1150, 120, 1200, 125, 1250.
Right. Thank you. So that affirms that Adapt is proposing to perform the, serving that many folks. Other thoughts?
Because they could still bill moving forward.
Yep,
so it doesn't take, excuse me.
I'm sorry, please finish.
No, that was my question.
Oh, yeah. So we had that conversation a bit ago, and we weren't sure what the SUD offering from Adapt was going to be because there's no dollar amounts in that cell. And Jason just read out the capacity for Adapt to provide those services in that community in Josephine. And so there initially was some discussion about whether that's enough. Burn in a community, looking down the column. And then the CMHP is options for Southern Oregon.
But we're only looking at like the burn funding. What about outside of the burn?
Yeah, that's something we don't know about or are able to use as a decision maker because we're looking at the applications. And I will just reiterate that moving over here, so whoa, too fast. Options for Southern Oregon at this reduced amount that unfortunately seems to be on the table would be 1.5 million, nowhere near the 4 point whatever it was in that farther to the left.
Yeah, it did do the from what Zeb had suggested, that column there is if we take the 70% and remove options for Southern Oregon. I thought that's what Zeb had suggested. So that does get it within 250,000.
And then you see little bumps to the rest of the partners. Caroline.
So I think we go back. Can you move the screen back?
Yep.
I think it goes back to if we remove that, because we could only go with the application, then we're taking away SUDS, substance use disorder treatment. And I don't think we can do that.
Well, we've got Amtrak who's offering to
yeah, but they have Amtrak with 142,000 versus 4 million. All I'm saying is that the discussion just morning is the fact that we really wanted to touch that SUDS line. And it's unfortunate that, maybe when we do this proposal RFP for next time, we really need to know the things that we can't, the unknown. And the unknown is we don't know the other services, other types of dollars that might be addressing the same issues, and we don't have that information, and we can't even use that information because we could only go by what was submitted. So I think the conversation this morning was that if we took out options for Southern Oregon and we removed the whole amount, that's $4 million, then that means we only leave the county with 142,000, and we still have to reduce that.
And yes, and whatever ADAPT will be providing.
Yes.
Right. But no dollars. That's right.
Yes. And we don't, so it's unknown. And so it's hard for us to make that rationale and saying, let's get rid of options. Could then unintentionally remove the dollars for substance use disorder treatment. That's the reason why we went with the 58. I thought it was going to be 65, but boy, was I off. 58 is a really significant, it's almost 50% of what was being requested. Well, it's more than, so it's sad all around, but we have to make a decision.
Yeah, all of that is true. Leticia?
I feel like we're, for the most part, landing on the existing providers. I think I'm curious if we went up to the OAC priorities. I know that currently we're over $5 million on this one here, but that would be if we were funding them all at 70%. Just out of curiosity, if we brought that down to 50%, where would that under the OAC priorities? Just curious.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Jason's tracking you. I was confused.
Because that would give us potentially another $1 million going towards SUD if we funded the OAC priorities. But I'm not sure if that would get us to where we need to be.
Jason, figure out what I messed up in the spreadsheet. Hopefully that wasn't me. But Keisha, go ahead. Well, we're watching the math.
Yeah, we already underfunding our current burn entities. I wouldn't even want to take more time in playing with the priorities when we don't have enough funding for our current grantees.
Leticia, is that an old hand? Call on Hunter. Go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, I have to agree with Keisha on this. If we look at this one right here with the or with the OAC priorities, with the new agencies added in at 50%, it seems to me that current grant recipients are going to get less money than the one we were working on before. And that being said, it's unfortunate, and as always on the OAC, I love always, respectfully changing my mind when someone else says something, but I'm tending to look at what Carolyn was saying as the unfortunate truth that we might have to fund agencies at much less than they asked to keep the burn intact and to get money to these agencies and out the door before the deadline.
Sabrina?
Yeah, I also agree with Carolyn and with or with Hunter at this point because of the only being the one sub provider. Even though it's a CMHP, it's hard to just roll them out. And so, out of all the options, I'm leaning closer to Carolyn and Hunter's if I had to choose one.
So it looks like 50% of existing and a few new doesn't get to the formula. It's still 1.3 over. So I'm going to
Okay.
scroll back down, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you for manipulating those numbers. I
Of course.
appreciate it.
Of course. So here we are, folks. So if you choose to keep Keisha.
I'm sorry. And so can you go back to the service thing? Because right now it looks like it's 3 sub providers. People keep saying different things, but I'm thinking it's 3 sub providers. And if we cut out the CMHP, they still have to provide those services regardless if we give them money or not. So I'm kind of leaning towards, I'm kind of leaning towards that we remove the CMHP and divide the money up between the providers, maybe getting us to like 65% or something of their ask.
So this is the column known as ZEB. That this is what that math is. And so it looks like there is Jason, can you confirm? So this took down the CMHP options for Southern Oregon down to 0. And then what was the redistribution of the rest of the funds here on the other columns, other rows?
Yeah, I just updated it. So it's actually based on the 70% column and then taking the CMHP out.
Okay. So there's 257K to move around.
It's still over by 257K when I do that.
Okay. So
So
there's
I need a little bit more out. Yeah.
a little more reduction. Okay. Mason?
And so if 257,000 divided between, 1, 2, 3, 8 providers, 7, 8 providers, like if that were split evenly between them to get to our cap number, what would people think about that?
Brandon?
I agree.
I like that idea too, but would we be over or would we still need to dwindle it down a little bit, or would that be over the amount we can split between all of the other providers?
We would just have to reduce by 257,000 divided between all the people.
Jason's doing that for us right now. Hunter?
So what I'm hearing you say is we would fund at the 70% less column T after Jason gets that $257,000 overage, almost 258, and divide that equally up among, so whatever that number is divided by 8, take that percentage away from each agency, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thought.
That does leave us with 2 SUD providers, and I think something like what Zeb said previously is letting agencies that are providing SUD in that county know that like we are expecting them to do what they said with the money.
Thank you, Jason. There you have it. To the formula. So that would be funding ADAPT Family Nurturing Center, Grace Roots, HIV Alliance, Nexus Mission, On Track, and the Grants Pass Sobering Center. Keisha?
I make a motion to move forward with this slide in front of us.
Okay. Keisha moves to approve.
Second it.
Amy seconds. This what's in front of you here?
I didn't hear the motion. I'm sorry.
Keisha, may I help?
Sorry, huh?
May I assist to clarify the motion for Kathy?
Yes, please.
Okay. The motion is to improve for Josephine County column V, which is titled motion. It is all existing providers except options for Southern Oregon. So Keisha moved and I forgot who seconded. Sorry. Amy did. Amy did. Discussion? Okay, Carly, let's vote.
Me, how do you vote?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Is the motion on the chat?
Yet,
It is?
not yet.
Okay. So come back to me. I want to see the motion in
Is that it right there?
Okay. I say no.
Thank you, Caroline. Hubert? Don't think he came in. Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
No.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Man, bummer. Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan? Ryan?
No.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes. To OHA to make sure that ADAPT is providing SUD services adequately.
And that passes with 8.
Thank you. I am going to make a note here on the side here. Dharma?
Did you go back to Carolyn for her vote?
Yes. Caroline, you voted no, right?
Yes, I voted no.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on. Not any pomp or circumstance here, just heartbreaking. I'm going to take a call for conflict on Klamath County. Our applicants in Klamath County are Boulder Care, Klamath Tribal Health and Family Services, Lutheran Community Services, Northwest, Maxis Mission, Tyus Yachts, Transformation Wellness Center. Besides Sabrina, does anybody else have an actual or potential conflict of interest? Go ahead, Sabrina.
I have an actual conflict of interest with Transformations Wellness Center. I'm employed by them.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Klamath County, small county, $8 million formula amount, $2 million base. I hear you have all of the providers and you can see who was approved in both areas versus just one area. And take a beat there. Okay. Here are the panel review recommendations, which is everybody except Boulder Care. And the I remember this well, the panel review got it down to $10.9 million and just said, ooh, the OAC can figure the rest out because it was a tough one. So here we are. And here are the OAC priorities, which includes, actually, you know what? There's an error in here. Boulder Care indicates on their application that they are culturally specific, that they provide culturally specific services, and they're missing from this. So I can try to quickly amend that. Or Jason, I'll manage the conversation. Can you grab Boulder Care's? Oh, thank you so much. But the math won't change that much because their application was, well, yes, it will. It's 1.4. It looks like Boulder Care in this county applied for over $1 million. So I'm going to work my way backwards and start at the bottom with existing providers only, starting with the current burn. Thanks for those save, Jason. Adding everybody up is 10.2 million, which is 2.2 million over the base. And taking folks down to just under 80% to 79% gets at just above the formula, and then 70% per your request does bring it all the way down to 7.1 million. So there, in order to fund every provider, there still does need to be some sort of reduction in some shape or form. And watch Jason in action up here on OAC priorities. I want to make sure you're able to take a look at this. And Hunter, go ahead, please.
Can you slide down to the so at 70%, we're about $30,000 over.
This is 79%.
79%.
Yeah.
So we could take $10,000, give or take, from each one of these agencies and fund them, and we would be right there, right?
That is correct.
What does the rest of the council think about that?
Linda?
I just wanted to take a closer look at the panel review recommendations because so what reductions, I guess, were they recommending?
So some of the, sorry, let me scroll up and down. Some of the reductions were reducing some of the specific surface areas to numbers specifically. Wow, sorry, it's been talking all day. But those numbers are here in bold. And then you can notice here that, thank you, Jason, that the total is still significantly over the formula. So this was sort of like the first shot that the panel review took at trying to bring some of those numbers down.
And just to add, you can see the percentage of the original ask beside it there. So it kind of gives you an idea of how much it's been reduced from based on the panel review recommendation.
Thank you.
Also having trouble talking now. Yes, also having trouble talking. So it's been a long day.
Any follow-up, Linda, before I call mates in?
Yeah, I guess just that in column M, like there might be some room to go. I mean, obviously we'd rather give everyone 100%, but it seems like there's some room to go. And to me, it seems important to fund like Klamath Tribal Health and Taya's Yaks as culturally specific programs. So I kind of like this one.
Okay, so Hunter is bringing us to our existing providers. Linda wants to explore the panel and some additional providers, and Mason is on that. Go ahead.
See, Keisha, you've been here. What you have to say before I say anything?
I mean, it's another one of those heartbreaking things. It's not much money. Can we go back to the current providers and see the percentage you took from them? That's not on there.
I can't, I'm sorry, Keisha.
I'm sorry. The percentage that we lowered the existing providers by.
Oh, here's, it's 79% of their total ask gets to just about the formula.
I thought I said, okay. So, I mean, it's another one of those hard decisions. Like we're already only funding our existing programs at 79%. So, I make a motion to just move providers forward.
Second.
Okay, Keisha moves to move forward with existing providers. Hunter seconds. Discussion, Dharma?
Yeah, are any of these culturally specific service providers Lutheran, Access, or Transformation Wellness Center?
Hold on, let me come up here. And this is based on what they put in their application.
Right.
These are the answers.
So those are all three of those are not culturally specific service providers?
They all assert some level of providing culturally specific services.
Okay. I think just based on the panel discussion that I would really advise us to think more about this one. But because I remember in the panel discussion, there's a really robust conversation about what they put in their answers on the application for Tyus Yox and Klamath Tribal Health Family Services, that there's more fleshed out responses as to why they would be considered a better, or maybe like someone that we should include rather on providing services for this county. I would really push for the panel view recommendations over the current motion, but I digress.
Other discussion, Mason?
I think I am inclined to agree with Dharma about that. Klamath County is, very spread out, and quite rural, and the asks from the existing providers in the burn are like pretty large, and I think having more access, like more providers of specific, like culturally specific services, could only be of benefit.
Thank you, Mason. More discussion, Melissa?
I am also hopping on the bandwagon that actually consider the panel review recommendations with the strong considerations for Tyus Yox and the Klamath Tribal Health. I understand that they weren't previous providers, but considering how large the space is and how important those two can be in any community, but in that community, I think that we should reconsider and look at and figure out a way to make that more viable.
Leticia?
I would like us to consider the panel review recommendations as well. I know we do already have a motion and a second on the table, so I'm guessing we'll have to vote on that first, but I would really like us to consider the panel review recommendation and how we can make this work.
Hunter?
After hearing the concerns of the rest of the council, I completely understand. However, I would just look at if we fund the panel review recommendations at that percentage of ask. I think that if we're going to fund a place for 100% when we're funding previous burn recipients at a percentage of, we might want to look at making some kind of either a continuity in the percentage taken away from that, or because one of myself and a lot of our previously stated priorities is to keep burns that have been working together for 4 years intact, and remember that almost like on one there's 60, and then I guess that's the major hit, but these are agencies that have been doing these things for some time and have caseloads built in, all those things, right? So just like, I guess, what percentage are we taking from who? But I definitely hear the concerns and priorities of the other council members.
Keisha, you're the motion owner.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the concerns too.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I hear the concerns too. It's just not a lot of money, and to cut these current providers down anymore, it's kind of a disservice. I mean, I understand we all want our wish list and everybody to get in, but like in certain counties, it's just not enough to go around.
Thank you, Keisha. So the motion stands. Mason?
I just wanted to bring attention to the thing that Dharma said in the chat about what the panel recommendations with the 3 pre-existing providers going down to 75%, and what that would make available for Klamath and
That's what Jason is working on here on
Gotcha.
Dharma.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we could see that before we made a decision, but does that put us slightly under?
It's still over.
Slightly over.
The
Okay.
formula is 8.049. Zeb?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Keisha's saying and Hunter is saying, because I'm all absolutely for culturally specific services. It just, can we fund them less at what they're asking for, to ensure that existing providers are able to function at a high level? If I remember right, Transformation Wellness Center application in the panel review was impressive.
Thank you, Zeb. Hunter, I'll bring you back up here to see the original ask.
Yeah, I think if we were going to bring agencies down to a percentage of their ask, the newer agencies should be the ones that take the agencies that aren't already working together on an MOU through a burn, the agencies that aren't already existing. I mean, we can, if we're going to stand up these agencies, great, but I don't think we should stand up one agency at the risk of being extremely detrimental to another.
Shannon, can I just let the conversation continue? Or at some point, there's still a motion that's been seconded, and I want to make sure that we manage. Oh, Shannon's not, oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. I think there is a way. I do not pretend to be an expert in Robert's Rules of Orders, but to sort of call the question and call a vote. I think that's how you do it.
Okay. So I'm going to keep facilitating the discussion unless there is an OAC member who would like to make this to ensure the vote happens now. So looking at where Jason is, doing 75, 75, 75, 65, 60, respectively to those providers on the left, it's still $2 million over. So what I'm hearing is that removing funds from new providers is where you might want to start. I don't know if that's consensus, but that's a theme I've heard a couple of times. And that would be from Tice Yachts row 20 and Klamath Travel Health and Family Services, which is row 17. Which, if you did with $2 million over, that's not a lot of wiggle room. Suggestion? Great, Mason, perfect.
Yeah, that math, when you're talking about like thinning soup, I would love to be able to add the new providers, but that does seem when the existing providers are already taking a hit, that like there's no way to hit that number. Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Hunter.
Yeah, and my concern is like for transformations, them to operate at 60% of the budget for the next 4 years. Can they even do that? Right? I mean, like how, of course they'll be able to do something, but like that means that like some aspects of their programs are going to have to close or be so greatly hampered that they're not able to do the work.
Dharma?
With the panel recommendation, if we removed Tyus Yox and added that back into the formula, we could still add the Klamath Tribal Health Services. What would that put us at if we added in took off Tyus Yox, get transformations back up to 75%? And then what's remaining?
Thank you, Jason. 750
Over or under?
over.
And then I would take the remainder off of the Klamath Tribal Health and Family Services and then maybe remove them from housing. I don't know. Take the remainder from peer support, since there's so many peer support providers in this area being approved.
Linda?
I just wanted to think, Hunter, you said like we don't want existing providers to be operating at 60% of their budget, which I agree with, but we don't know if what they requested is a continuation of their budget or an increase, correct? Is that
That's
right,
true.
Abby? Okay. And that's in the application somewhere. Can you tell me what section it's in?
I'm sorry, I was trying to catch up on the chat. Can you ask your question again?
For us to see like how much funding they were getting previously, what
Oh, yeah,
section?
of course. I'm sorry. In the workbook, there's the third tab over is the past Measure 110 recipient form. And
Okay.
at the very top, there's a row across the top that has the service areas were funded for, their total grant amount, and what they've spent as of October or September, really, 2024.
Okay, thank you. And then one other thing I wanted to just call out because I'm trying to like look at some of these applications is that Lutheran Community Services, for example, in their grant application, they say they have a financial team that manages a $54 million budget across 3 states and 39 locations. And so realistically, this is kind of a drop in the bucket for them, and it might not be a drop in the bucket for some of these smaller, culturally specific organizations that might be funding. So,
You have a recommendation on what you'd like to see? I know Dharma did as well. Dharma was talking about maybe taking it out of Klamath, which would bring them way down to about under
yeah,
500,000.
I
What?
guess we're working off of Dharma's column
Yeah.
because we're over. I would probably say we should reduce Lutheran Community Services. I mean, I'm sure I know based on their application they do amazing work. It's just, as you've said, Abby, hard decisions. Maybe like that. And it does seem like Max's mission has like a pretty high budget compared to some of the others. So maybe reduce Max's a bit. What if we reduce Max's like 300 and Lutheran 300?
What do folks think of that? I'll go to Keisha first.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. We're continuing to slash our current providers, and without looking at the workbook and seeing how much they got before, we don't know what their working budget is to keep cutting where they can't even perform the services that we already stood up for them.
Caroline? You're muted though.
Sorry. So yeah, thank you, Linda, for bringing up those points. But the reality is the fact that we're only talking about Klamath. So Lutheran Services has been in existence probably for what, 30, 40 years. So it's not, it's the longevity in terms of the fact that they're in multiple counties. I think we need to focus on Klamath. Is the fact that if we remove this, we're removing it from Klamath. And so it's not, I think, up to us to decide with Luther in terms of now that they didn't get Klamath, so now they got to take it out of their budget in order to address Klamath. I'm not sure if that's I mean, I'm just stating that. I think the reality is that there's not enough money. And if there was more money, we could open up the door to these. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're, I mean, Klamath Tribal Health and Family Services has been around for a while. I don't know anything about the other one. I have to be very honest with that because I'm working for my own tribe now here. So I don't know how much of an effort it's going to take for startup costs. And we know when we first started, this startup was really the hardest part. We weren't sure some of these new or the entities were going to even make it. We had to actually take away money from several entities because they could not, as brand new programs, get it off the ground. We all know, maybe some of you guys don't know, but anytime you open up a new program, it's about a 5-year period of time that's going to determine if you're going to make it or not make it. And if you can make it over the 5-year hump, chances are you're going to do okay. Startup program is very difficult. So I think I go back with the fact that we don't have enough money. So that's the reason why I'm trying to be consistent and looking at the existing programs and not, and I know there's gap of services. I'm not going to deny that. But then if we take too much away from existing services without knowing how much other money is coming into the tribe and I'm sorry, into the county, and if they have access to other dollars, we don't know that unless we put that in the application next go around saying that this is going to be a factor we're going to have to take in consideration if you have other funding coming in to make it fair for some of those who don't have any dollars. So I think we could only go with, and so that's the reason why I'm more with, Anisha in terms of the fact that we stay with existing programs. We don't have enough money for expansion or we don't have enough money for new programs.
Linda.
Just a clarifying question. I'm looking at which Caroline, I think those points are very valid. Looking at the workbook for amount awarded, is it a fair comparison to compare the amount awarded to the amount on here in terms of operating budget, or are the timeframes different?
I'll have Jason chime in since he's a real expert, but we know that lots of folks had capital costs that were allowed at the beginning of the grant. And so there was a lot of capital building, kind of foundational expenses, and have seen through the grant period moving more and more towards service heavy ongoing operational reports. But if Jason has any other specific information to share.
Yeah, it's also 3-year versus 4 years. So the original grant was two 18-month grants. Yeah. But we're doing a 4-year this time. So there's an additional year in the new asks.
Okay, that was my main question. Like looking at Max Smith mission, they were previous 1.4 million. So, even with a 68% reduction, 2.8 million is even over 4 years instead of 3, especially if they don't have capital costs. I think they would be able to continue doing what they're doing.
Anything else, Linda? Nope. Okay, Dharma.
I agree with Linda's assessment. I'm wondering if there was a reduction from any of their areas, knowing that peer support has 5 proposed providers in this panel recommendations options, if that would get us to where we need to be at. Or if they could take the distribution of the 146 from all of the peer support areas equally, if that would make much of a difference to what we're seeing now, folks would be amenable to the panel review one. But I know there's an existing motion.
Mason?
Well, one thing being just, I think, I don't know if we're allowed to say specifically which section we would be removing money from, but to be in line with what other people's comments have been on the council, maybe if we just keep, if for Klamath Tribal Health Family Services, pushing their percentage down until we hit our cap number, if we are interested in like funding pre-existing providers as much as possible and introducing new people, maybe a solution.
Keisha?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of toggling, a lot of things to get through. We got to make hard decisions in a timely manner also too. I mean, I had a vote on the table. I mean, we can vote on it or we can keep toggling and taking away from to meet everyone's needs. I mean, sometimes we're just going to have to make hard decisions and move forward. We have a lot of counties to get through.
Caroline?
I just want to make a point here is the fact that all the 9 federally recognized tribes, we have carve out dollars. We do have dollars. I don't know why Klamath Tribal Health and Family Services is submitting something separate, because I'm not involved. When I was with the state, I knew everything that was going on. So I'm not sure we're going to be taking away money if we don't fund them. We just need to make sure that the dollars that we're giving to the tribes are addressing their what they call CHISDA area, or their geographic area, which the tribal money is supposed to be addressing those in Monmouth County area. So everyone, you know, I mean, if someone was going to give me more dollars with the tribe, I'm going to take it. So I just wanted to make sure the fact that there is money for tribal programs down there, unless Sabrina knows something different. Is Sabrina on?
Got a conflict. So
okay. No wonder she's not on.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. That might be her program. Okay. I just want to make sure that people understand that this is a new request, correct? Because it's in white.
That is correct. Jason, you want to say what you were going to say?
Just that, I mean, the tribal set aside hasn't been determined as far as who gets what, but the tribes have always been invited and allowed to also apply for the competitive grants. But yeah, everything you're saying is correct.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, and I kind of voiced it myself, the fact that since we're giving carve out, I'm not sure when we're in a situation like this where there's not enough money. We're giving the tribes dollars. And so, like I said, again, is the fact that if someone's going to offer me more money, I'm going to take it, you know, for my tribe. But the thing is, though, I also did not put in because I know I got money coming in. So there was no way I was going to apply separately, even though they have that opportunity to do that. But I think we're dealing with the fact that, you know, when we first started this, we had what, $300 million in the first go round. And then this time we only have what, 140 million? I mean, that's a reality check here. And so I'm not saying that the tribe doesn't need money. I'm just saying the fact that we have to make some hard decisions and the tribes are receiving money.
Mason.
That's a good point. I think what Carolyn's saying is a really good point, and that probably means that even without this specific funding stream, like they will not stop being able to serve community. I'd be willing to just go with the existing providers, knowing that.
Thank you, Mason. Hunter.
And to that point, can we slide down to the bottom? The motion on the table is to fund the existing providers at the 79% minus what, so, and then we would take about $10,000 from each of those, correct? Have we done the math on that? What that would look like? No, I mean, not that it is absolutely necessary since the language is in the motion. But to approve existing providers for Klamath County with the 79% reduction of ask and to split the overage up among the three, right? Oh, so that's already there.
Yeah, Jason's doing the math.
Okay.
There it
Yeah.
goes.
I just wanted to kind of remind everybody what the original motion is.
Yeah, thank you. And that motion is still on the table. It has been seconded. We're still in discussion. Any other discussion? Thank you, Jason. Ami?
Isn't considering the tribal dollars kind of similar to considering the CHMP? Like you then being able to bill outside, isn't that the same?
Since we didn't make that a requirement, when we put the RFP to take that in consideration, every county is getting more money than just Measure 110. I mean, the tribes are getting dollars for Indian Health Services. The tribe is getting money from the state, and we're getting Measure 110. When we originally put set aside for the tribes, we voted on 4%. And then it went down to 140 million, and we advocated to keep the money and not take away. And so as a result, we did not lose money like all the counties are losing money. The tribes are not going to lose the set aside that we agreed to. And so because of that, I'm not sure if it's a valid statement, but then if we're going to say that, then we're going to have to say that we have to take into account all other dollars that are coming in. There's foundation dollars. There's other dollars that we're getting from community housing services that's going towards the same similar population. There's impact dollars. There's going to be deflection dollars. And so the counties are not going to suffer and not being able to apply for other dollars. There's always going to be dollars from other sources. So I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to make a point here because I think folks want to put in money for these two entities that are brand new. I'm just saying the fact that I know there's other monies there. So it's a valid statement, but it's not, I'm not sure if an apple is an apple in this case because of the fact that statistically tribal data is always higher than the we're always the highest amount for everything in terms of addiction. When COVID happened, we were the highest amount. I mean, we're always statistically, when we aggregate those numbers, we're always in the top. And so I don't want people to say, oh, well, all the tribes are getting money, so we shouldn't give it to them. Well, what I'm saying is the fact that in this particular case, if we went with the existing providers in terms of the emotion, I think we're trying to go backwards and say, well, what about these other two programs? We want to make sure that they're going to get dollars. And I'm saying there's other dollars in the county that they could access too, just like these other three existing programs. I'm sure this is not their only budget. I'm making an assumption. I shouldn't have said that. I believe there's other dollars in the county that maybe some of these three entities are accessing.
Thank you, Caroline. Dharma?
I point well taken, Caroline, too. I think we should move the motion to hear the motion, hear the vote.
Okay. The motion is, and Ami is ready to vote. The motion, you got to scroll up. Approve existing providers for Klamath County with 79% reduction of ask, and you'll see where Jason's purple square is on the screen. It says motion with the specific dollar amounts below. That was there was the discussion, and that was it. So Carly, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Ami, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Dharma,
No.
Hunter,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Leticia,
Yes.
Linda,
No.
Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
No.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Sabrina has a conflict. Zeb,
Yes.
that passes with 9.
Oops, I am muted. It is 3:17 and we're going to take a 3-minute break. 3 minutes. So water, fluids, bathroom, pet your dogs, go outside, smell the air. I'll see you at 3:10:20 sharp.
Zeb, what are you saying? I don't understand.
Don't ignore him. $3:20. Here we go. Got water. I woke up the dog. Now he needs all the pets. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Oh, geez. Okay. Want to make sure we have enough folks back. Kelly, give me a break. Kelly. We're going to jump into Lake County, which should still be up on your screen. This is an interesting one. It looks like, unless I'm don't have the data right, that these are both new providers, both new applicants, I should say. So here's our summary slide. I wonder, I'll need to verify this and I can in just a second. But the two applicants are Boulder Care and Community Counseling Solutions. Lake County being a small county has the $2 million cap and the $2 million base. And Boulder Care came in at 160, Community Counseling Solutions at 2 million. So add them up and it's just 2.1. So it's just actually it's the Boulder Care ask over the amount. So what the panel review recommended doing was just letting you guys figure it out. So that was the recommendation. And here is looking at your priorities. Taking out admin and indirect brings the ask down. You'll see that in the community counseling solutions and Boulder Care budgets, we did remove anything that was not direct client care to help find a new NTE for them to adjust and do what works, which is way under the cap. And I didn't do existing providers only because at this point, I believe they are both new. Jason, actually, I think I have that window up. Can you verify that Community Counseling Solutions is a new applicant in Lake County?
In this county, yes.
It is, okay. It just didn't smell right. I was just kind of confused by it, but okay. So that's the picture. And so bringing Lake County to $2 million, what are your thoughts? And usually the reason, I'll just add an insight from the panel review, is the value of having two options that are part of the burn, even though one is telehealth and being thoughtful about rural communities. So that was that. Hunter, please go ahead.
Can you slide down a little bit? So first thing I'm thinking is we could add, so we're still 699, so right at 700,000 that we still have to play with, right? What if we added that to CCS?
So also, if I can bring over here to the pink, it is only 160K over the formula amount. And this was removing all of their non-client fees, which got us to this really low number over here. So do you want to, I just want to confirm, you wanted to start over here in this column?
Well, you know what? I will I'll hold off and hear what Carolyn has to say.
Okay. Ron?
Are we saying Lake County has not had a burn since the beginning of Measure 110? Or has the county mental health provider been providing those services? I mean, I thought we were mandated to have every county to be a burn. So how did we miss out on Lake?
So there is a full burn in Lake County.
Okay.
It's just
They didn't apply for any funds from Measure 110. Oh, okay.
Abby, well, yeah, I guess I'm not sure what we can what's
Yeah.
part of the conversation, or yeah, it's a unique situation here, but the burn is covered right now. And I'm just not sure what I'm allowed to say or not.
Okay, that's fair.
There are services in Lake County that are funded by DTRSF, yes.
So this is what was available to the county, and these are the only two entities. So going back with Hunter, so we are now at how much, where are we at? We're on the, we still have 699 okay, I'm kind of confused.
Sure, I'll re-summarize here. So
Okay.
over here on column K, which is the total entity request across the board, sorry, is just over the formula at 2.160. So it's 160,000 over. So y'all can decide if you want to, take that from CCS, if you want to remove Boulder Care, or kind of what your preferences are there. But just to be thorough and consistent, we did do your math and take out a dollar amount that was equal to the non-patient direct care and notes in the budgets. So, any marketing or indirect or, administration. And then that is what brought down to 1.3 million, which is 700,000 under the cap. So this is sort of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? You want to take it out, or do you want to put it back? Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in on this a little more. Leticia?
Looking at that purple column there, it looks like the amount that is requested over in this county is exactly what Boulder Care had requested, or about that amount. And then looking over at column P, it looks like if we reduced Boulder Care to 125,000, we could potentially, like Hunter was saying, just add that 699,000 back to that second agency, and then both take a little bit of the cut.
You want to see that math play out?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jason. Hunter?
Yeah, I think that's fair. While we want telehealth there, I'm looking at a map, and Lake County is a pretty decent sized county. We also want there to be in-person services, and knowing that Boulder Care can and does work in all of our counties across the state with or without, they are getting a significant sum of their NTE ask. So I think if we added that 699.30 back to CCS, I would be comfortable looking at that.
Great.
And I'm sorry, I know Leticia has said something, and my computer was kind of glitching out, so I did not catch actually what the request was. And
It's
so
okay, Jason. So I had suggested that 699,000 was added back to CCS.
okay. Same thing that Hunter just said. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Hunter, if that was a motion, I'll second that.
When he gets the numbers up there, I'll make a motion. Okay, I make a motion that we fund Lake County in the column Q.
I second that.
Hunter moves. Leticia seconds to fund Boulder Care and CCS at the numbers noted in column Q under motion in Lake County. Discussion? Let's vote, Carly.
On me, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma? Are you still here, Dharma? Okay. Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Zeb's taking his 30-minute break.
It does pass already without his vote.
Make it a count.
12 passes with 12 without Zeb's vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We are unable to complete Lane County. It is yellow here because the panel review will be finishing up Lane County tomorrow morning. We already did Lincoln County because of my inability to follow the alphabet. So we're going to jump into Lynn County. Okay. Up at the top, Lynn County, Oregon, the formula is 14 million. I'm just going to round that up a bit. It's a medium county. The base is $3 million. Sorry, something in my eye. The panelists, sorry, here are all the applicants, and I need to do a call for conflict. Addiction counseling and education services, Tigard Health, I think it is, or CRC Health Oregon, Boulder Care Addicts Negotiating Change Effectively, Community Services Consortium, Faith, Hope, and Charity, Family Assistance and Resource Center Group, Family Tree Relief Nursery, Ideal Option, and Samaritan Health Services. Are there any conflicts of interest, actual or potential? Here are all of the applicants. You see lots of applicants for the peer support category. And the folks at the panel did not recommend funding Boulder Care for harm reduction. And then one of the two reviewers recommended funding all these areas of blue, but that is the total. The total is $24.5 million. So just about 10 million over. Here are the panel recommendations. You'll see the cells with some light yellow. Those are some kind of specific reductions. So we can look at Tigard, their said ask was 1.7, brought most things down to $1 million that were over $1 million to get it down a little closer to 13.4 and removed, actually it's a little under, and it removed any of the blue or orange. So the harm reduction from Boulder Care, oh, I'm sorry, Boulder Care was completely removed. And then it took out any of the services that were only recommended by one reviewer. And that is the slate of applicants. Moving just to your priorities. This is another one, Jason, where we need to have Boulder Care in there as well, because at least for record keeping, they do. So for the team, Boulder Care does they have culturally specific services. So for continuity, I want to make sure that are listed on every OAC priority chart. We had to share the wealth to complete these complex spreadsheets as a team. Okay. So, but these are the providers in addition to Boulder Care that assert they provide culturally specific services and are gender affirming and are existing providers or are existing providers. And the total NTE request gets down to 22 million. And then removing costs of admin or indirect and service area to bring the NTE down to a different level gets us down to just over 14 million, which is about at the formula. So no need to take that 70% unless you want to fund somebody else, like Boulder Care. And finally, just looking at existing providers only. This is what you're looking at. Everything would be fully funded. I mean, we wouldn't remove the blue areas unless you wanted to. NTE is 21 million, taking down the reductions gets it to 14 and change, which is just a smidge over the formula amount. And it's also the $3 million cap. Yes. Sorry, Hunter, did you not? Sorry, I didn't. There you are.
So to take a page out of Carolyn's book, that 70% number over there, what if we put that at, I don't know where to start, but like 80%, trying to get that closer to the 1397.
I see Sabrina nodding. How do folks feel about starting with that existing provider slate? More nods. Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Sorry, I was wrapping up adding Boulder Care.
I appreciate you. So existing providers only, the chart at the bottom, taking the 70% to 80 or 85 to get it to closer to the cap because we're just a hair over it.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Does anybody else wish they were as good as Jason is at Excel?
Yeah,
Would make my
every
job
day.
so much easier.
Every day.
Just want to put that out there. Good job, Jason. Thank you.
I second that, Jason. You're doing amazing. Great job.
Brave public mathing is something I hope to always avoid.
And Abby, I came back early from my 30-minute break.
You did. I appreciate that. You missed Lake County completely.
You guys started early then.
We did. Ah. I think I just learned something from Jason. You're just taking the percentage up and up and up, and then the whole column adjusts. That's amazing. Maybe 7%. There we go. 93. Jason? Mason? Oh,
I mean, 93, right? That's pretty dang solid for making sure that everybody who was already there is getting what they need. Feels way less tragic than a lot of the stuff we've done recently.
way less tragic is a really, really good like hashtag or motto. It looks like 95% was what is workable. Jason, is that correct?
Yes, so just reminding everyone that that's after, like, that's coming from the less admin and under 3 million cap. So that's where we're starting from the 95. So the actual percentage reduction from the original ask is beside it.
Thank you, Jason. And the original ask is in the pink for your edification. Hunter?
Can we slide over to the names of the agencies real quick? Do we know who the QMHP is, or the CMHP?
Do that every time too. Kathy, are you here? Do you know who the CMHP is? And Lynn?
Lynn County Health Services.
So not an applicant.
Okay. Can we slide over to that final number?
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion that we fund column R with that remaining 44,890 being split evenly amongst the agencies.
Linda?
I just wanted to second Mason's comment. Maybe Mason, you wanna, I don't know if you wanna.
Yeah, sure. It just yeah, that percentage was really excellent until it was reminded that it was including the 3 million cap, and the people who have the highest asks are the ones providing housing, which I think everyone can agree is like a extremely critical aspect of this. So maybe if we can bring the percentage down again and then like equalize the percentages of the original asks to make sure that the housing services aren't getting throttled as severely.
Hunter, I'm gonna, Sabrina, one sec. I want to pop over to Hunter, the motion owner, and check in and see what he's thinking.
Yeah, for the time being, I'll rescind my motion.
Okay, Sabrina?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Hunter, Mason, and Linda. I like the idea of where we were at as far as percentage, like Hunter said, but with that overage, instead of dividing it up into everybody, maybe we can divide it up into housing, or at least a large portion of it.
Caroline?
So is my eyes wrong on K 53? Is that 7 million?
That was a $7 million total ask from addicts negotiating change effectively.
But it's not listed. Yeah, it is. The 4,000,506. So how come when you look at the percentage, it just doesn't look like it's matching right? Am I reading it wrong? 60, 63, 5.
Oh, it's not totaling 100. Is that what you're thinking?
Or I don't know. Yeah, it just seems
Yeah.
so out of place when I was looking at the overall number.
Yeah, so $2.8 million is 40% of 7.2, which
Okay.
was chance, I believe. I think we're missing a word there. Of their ask. And so what I'm hearing right now is the discussion is, are you all wanting to take the percentage decrease down from 95 to get a little bit more fluidity in there to refund housing? I'm seeing some heads nod, and Caroline, your hand is still up, and Amy is on
Oh, I
deck
don't, okay,
behind.
I'm sorry, let me
Okay,
read.
no, just checking. Amy, go ahead.
Oh, I would be willing to make the motion that we move forward the motion column and the overage there be applied and split up in the housing part for the.
I would second.
Okay, so Amy moves to take column R, this motion, and to take the $44,000. Is that right?
Yes.
Which is to be divided between which two or which organizations? Chance and CSC, excuse me. Please.
Yeah, the two housing providers, so add
Okay.
it, I can't read it, sorry.
Yep. Columns 53 and 54.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my motion.
Okay, Amy motions, and Sabrina, did you second that?
Yes, I did second it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more extra, so either way, I still second it.
Okay. Discussion. Mason?
Thanks. I think we should bring the percentage down lower because I mean, if we're looking at like addicts negotiating change effectively with their housing ask going down by like more than 2.5 million, like reallocating $40,000 is not like going to, if that's how much money that they thought they needed to like adequately do this, like 44,000 doesn't feel like enough to bolster them. So I still think that bringing the percentage down to maybe like 90, 80, like starting at 90, seeing how much more we can get, maybe 85, so we can make sure the housing is being properly met.
As other discussion, and I'll let Amy, as the motion owner, decide what she wants to do. Other discussion? Sabrina?
Yeah, I am in agreement with Mason.
Anybody else? So Sabrina, did you second that motion? You did. So you are no longer in agreement with the original motion as it stands. Okay. Amy?
So you're wanting to make a motion to do 90% or 85% from each of the providers and take the overage and put it back into housing. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is what I'm saying.
That's fine. I'll make that motion. Make the motion to take the funding down to, are we okay with 85? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, 85% from each provider, and then the overage, putting it back into the two that are providing housing.
Amy moves, and I'm going to let Kathy capture that, and Mason wants to second it. And I also think we should wait a couple of beats and let Jason finish the math so y'all can see. And in the
I
meantime, I'm sorry, Kathleen.
and I put the motion in there. Nobody's really changed the motion too much other than the percentage.
Right.
And that any overage needs to go to the housing providers, which I put in there. So it was just the percentage change.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. And is there a discussion about the motion? No? Okay, we'll just wait for those final numbers and then we'll take a vote. Harley will take your vote. And it looks like we're there. Any other, now that the math is done, just want to make sure we're solid. And I highlighted rows 53 and 54 were CSC and Chance, the two housing providers. Okay, great. Probably let's do your vote.
Okay. Mia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
She said she had to step out, but I anticipate she'll be back.
Thank you. Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 13.
13. Fantastic. I'm gonna just keep moving us forward. We have until 4:30 today. Malheur County, far southeastern corner of our state. Here is the homepage of all the applicants, which include a call for conflict on Altruistic Recovery, Boulder Care Provider Group, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, or EOCIL, and Lifeways Inc. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest with these providers in this county? Hearing none, the Malheur County formula is 7.3 million. It's a small county with a $2 million base. It's a large geographic county, small population wise. The total ask for all the providers is 8.9 million, and recall 7.3 is the formula. Here are the panel review recommendations, which includes everybody except for Altruistic Recovery. And the total here is 8.0 million, which is just scaling back a few of the asks and removing Altruistic Recovery, as I said. So there is that. And here are the OAC priorities, which is all four of the applicants, including Boulder Care. And you'll note for Altruistic Recovery, because I believe they're included because they indicate they do provide culturally specific services. A harm reduction was not recommended to be funded by either of the reviewers, and their program costs are $4 million. So that because there's zeros across the board after screening, you can look at the budget and kind of identify how they might be wanting to allocate those funds, just calling that out. So the NTE again, 7.9, and then admin and indirect removed, and then a cap brings you down to 5.6, significantly lower than the formula itself, and just because you asked for it, here's a 70%. And so the existing providers only, the last one is if you fund everybody at EOCIL and Lifeways, you're at 8.3. And as a reminder, the formula is 7.3, so it's just $1 million over. And if we take out the stuff you've asked us to take out in order to decrease the total grant, you're looking at a $4 million, because that is the cap as well, that instituting that $2 million cap per provider, but each provider is respectively 2.4 for EOCIL and 5.9 is their totals for Lifeways. So there's plenty of, oops, sorry, that's my bad, plenty of room to play around. So where do you all want to start this conversation today for Malheur County? Mason?
I think OAC priorities would is the one that is most appealing at a glance. There's only a 500,000 over. I think there's potential there.
Others? This is where you want to start your conversation? Linda? Oh, sorry, you didn't raise your hand. I just saw you on mute.
Oh, um, I guess I'm kind of curious with the review panel one. Can you go up? I need to pull up altruistic recovery, but I'm kind of wondering why the review panel recommended not funding them.
Yeah, I was going to do the same. I do not recall. Anybody who was in that meeting, remember Keisha, Morgan, Zeb? Do you recall? It feels like the year 2003 we had this conversation. Well, Keisha? Oh,
I can't see the entities in the beginning. Where we at?
so here's this top graph is everybody. Altruist Recovery, Boulder Care, EOCAL, and Lifeways. And then the panel review is everybody but altruistic. And then OAC priorities is everybody. And then existing would just be, and I do see that Lifeways is misspelled. I apologize for that. EOCAL and Lifeways. Hunter.
Yeah, I think the question was, was there any OAC members who were on this review panel that can give us a little more information on why altruistic recovery wasn't in the review, the recommendations from that review panel?
I'm trying to jog my memory here, Hunter.
I must have missed that one because I don't remember.
Well, I've been to every single one and I don't remember either. I think maybe that's part of the problem. I am, and we've all got the application, so you're welcome to take a peek and look at it. And we can also, let me do one more thing. Hunter, go ahead.
Can you go up to the top slide?
Yep. Sorry, multitasking very poorly.
Because it's a new ask and they're asking for a large sum. And so that's why I would like to know. I see in the chat that Carly says she's looking through the transcript right now. Definitely would like at least a little more information on why they didn't recommend.
Morgan?
Does anyone else have the applications open? Am I interpreting something wrong, or is there like a doing business as issue happening? Because
No, I've got it open. You mean finding the name?
yeah, altruistic.
Yeah, it's Malheur _ altruistic. Open the county first. I do find that one of the two reviewers indicated specifically for harm reduction that the harm reduction was mentioned only minimally in the application. And, that doesn't capture the conversation of the review panel, but I'm just, in the scoring itself that you can see in the files as well. Provided so this is a question about proposed program information, provided some of the informations, did not provide number of clients served annually. Well, applicant states they collaborate with tribal leaders to the best of cultural context and historical trauma affecting mental health and substance use disorders. The reviewer was curious on what the culturally appropriate interventions were. Applicant does not mention health equity for communities most impacted by the war on drugs. Applicant did not address after business hours. Anyway, so, but there was also, some positive comments as well. Provide supporting data and explanation of how the needs were determined and an organizational approach to addressing community needs. Provides all information needed. Yeah, I mean, we could go back and look at the recording and sort of see what the conversation was. I don't know if anybody on the team has any recollection of the discussion
I
there.
do have the transcript right here. I can read a chunk from it or copy and paste. It's a little hard to follow on the screen, but because it doesn't spell some things correctly. But let me see, where was I? I just found that section we were talking about it.
While Carly's looking, I'll just pull up a couple of highlights from the project scope so you all know what they're looking to accomplish. Altruistic recovery is a dedicated outpatient substance use disorder that has been serving Malheur County for 3 years. Focus on addressing the diverse needs of our clients. Our program, Altruistic Reset Wellness Center, will cater to clients meeting the ASAM 3.9. They've got CDCs and QMHPs. We are seeking grant funding to establish a local social detox and intensive outpatient center in Malheur County. This initiative aims to fill a significant gap in the community as clients currently have to travel outside the area for detox and return to their previous environment for outpatient. There's many pages, but those are kind of grab the first couple sentences of the first couple of sections.
I do have where one of the reviewers did not recommend altruistic. They did not recommend for harm reduction, as one of the funding areas was just a lack of clarity in the application. Sorry, it's so hard to read these. That they identified harm reduction practices. All staff undergo cultural competency training, getting insight. I'm really sorry. This is very difficult for me to read.
Hunter?
I'm happy with that. You've done enough, Carly. Thank you very much. And Abby, I'm good. You don't have to keep doing that if you don't want to. Can I see the panel review recommendations again? And we're under there still, right? Or are we over?
7.3 is the
Oh, we're
total.
over.
Let me freeze this guy here. Never mind, too complex. So, oh, sorry, Jason has it right here. Of course, it's 710,000 over.
And can we go to existing?
Oops, sorry, you don't want to see my spreadsheets. Sorry, hold on. Oh, there we go. And wrong. There we go.
I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm curious what the council has.
Yeah, I think the real question is, where do you want to start, right? You've got 2 existing providers in the burn. There are additional ways to diversify the offerings in that community. And it would just be really a question of, again, that soup thinning exercise. What are other people's thoughts? I know we've been together a long time, got a half hour left. Let's see if we assert some creativity with Malheur. What do folks think? Mason?
Does it specify in the grant application? I can't pull for altruistic. Are they already in the county and just going for this? Yeah, that's what that is. Well, in that case, I think when maybe I'm reading this wrong, but the OAC priorities still is bringing best for me, and unless I just totally lost track, how far over is that? Is that a crazy amount over? Percentage change for original ask is 35% of the original ask, or is that a 35% reduction in the change to I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Here, so here's the original ask. Am I muted? Yes, I am. So 4,000,000, 600, 1.3, 5.9, and then these are the, and then this is the $2 million cap is what really hacks into those, because we use that as a base. But then you could, add back and bring it up. Hunter?
Trying to remember, I think that we have I think that we've talked to Lifeways on here before. I think they came and talked to us a few times about something. And my concern is that like 23% of their original ask for an existing burn partner seems like we may be shutting down programs that we stood up. This might be one of those cases to where, although these new services would be great if we could fund them, we may not be able to fund everything. I'm leaning towards existing providers and working on splitting up the overage in a fair way is what I was thinking. What does the council think?
Thank you, Hunter. Dharma, got a thumbs up from Morgan. Go ahead, Dharma.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, on here with just the existing providers only, right? That they have to get that for them. Uh, I'm concerned that there's still maybe like we're making too many decisions for Lifeways on as far as like where those cuts need to happen for them to be successful to run those 6 areas.
So I'll clarify, Dharma, that here on column K, the total NTE is 8.3. It's only $1 million over the formula. So it really is trying to figure out how to reduce these two numbers by about $1 million.
Okay.
So
And since this,
we wouldn't have to institute that $2 million cap.
okay. Sorry, thank you for clarifying. So, and I still have concerns though that like, especially if we go down to the one provider, that we really need to leave it up to Lifeways to make the decisions on where those cuts need to come out of, rather than us making those decisions. And so we can shift it down however folks feel like we need to do that. But I think it would be most appropriate to just move forward with Lifeways being like move forward with the existing providers only, and having Lifeways be able to kind of and be able to inform where those cuts were going to happen.
Yes. Hunter?
I agree 199% with Dharma on that. Number that I'm throwing out for the council to think about would be a 60-40, with 60% of the 1 million overage going to Lifeways and 40% to East Oregon Center for Independent Living.
Thoughts on that proportion? So the 40% reduction to the smaller budget and the larger reduction to the larger budget.
40% of the $1 million that's over, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason's working on that. Any other thoughts while we're mathing? Oh, let me make my column wider so you can see it. There we go. Whoop. That does it. So that would be a final. Oh, go ahead, Hunter.
I'd like to make a motion that we fund Maldor County on L.
I second that.
Motion moves. Hunter moves. Sabrina seconds. A discussion about the funding on column L under motion for these two providers. Other discussion? Okay, vote.
On May, how do you vote? Or on me, sorry.
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 14.
Great work. I have a question for you all. With 23 minutes left, the next county up is Marion, which is a lot. Or we can pop over to Monroe. Okay.
Yeah, let's go with the small county.
Okay.
Be able to get through fast.
We're gonna turn Marion yellow. Don't look. That's for another day. Okay, we're gonna go to Morrow County. Call for conflicts. The applicants in Morrow County are Boulder Care Community Counseling Solutions, LAPS, living, learning, and loving after and along with programs are the three applicants. Any actual or potential conflicts of interest? Okay. Same. CCS is the existing provider, Community Counseling Solutions. Morrow County's formula is just over 2 million. It's a small county, extra small as a $1 million base. Forgot about the extra smalls. And the total ask is $3.7 million. The panel review recommendation was, one kind of core in-person provider with augmenting with some remote telehealth. Having the amount come to 2.5, but not funding harm reduction for Boulder Care. Excuse me, and it's still about 400K over. Your priorities are those same providers, and taking a look at some mathing, able to reduce both of the NTEs just a bit, and bringing it down to just under the formula, including, well, not including the $1 million cap because we didn't really need to because it didn't need to get that low. And existing providers only would just be going with CCS and funding as much as possible of their request, which is already over the formula amount. And the panel review recommendations are repeated. So do we know why that's repeated? It's the same. So where would you like to start this conversation? Your priorities, just the burn, Hunter.
I think similar to a couple of counties ago, if we could fund Boulder Care at a lesser amount with community counseling, they're both going to have to take a hit. I think on this OAC priorities at that 2.146, what's the difference there? 20,000, 116. I think we could take that from Boulder Care, and then we can now have more harm reduction and telehealth in Morrow County as well. What does the council think about that?
And I think this 20,000 is a surplus. I mean, it's not a surplus, but it can go back, not a reduction.
Oh. So we could add that back to CCS.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's the end of the day. I was thinking in reverse.
Well, we're always thinking of deficits, right? Which is unfortunate. Leticia, go ahead.
I would agree with that recommendation, Hunter.
Sabrina?
I'm also in agreement with that.
Wonderful.
So is that column R?
Oops, yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jason, for
So
leading the motion.
okay, I make a motion that we fund Morrow County in column R.
Right, Hunter moves.
Second. From Leticia. Second.
Leticia seconds.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Me, how do you vote?
My apologies. Yes.
Thank you. Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie? Here. Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes.
Passes with 14.
Fantastic. You were right. Let's take a peek at Polk and see what Polk has to say. Okay. It's a little more complex. That's all right. Call for conflicts. Boulder Care, ICU, Mason, Community Services Consortium, Polk County Behavioral Health, WVP Health Authority, doing business as Mid-Valley IPA, and Youth Era. Could you please state your conflict of interest, Mason, and anybody else?
I'm employed by Youth Era.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to run through this. Polk County formula is 8 million. It's a medium-sized county with a $3 million base. Here are all of your applicants, and this looks a little peachy, but that's supposed to be orange, which is the way both of the reviewers did not recommend funding the peers and harm reduction for Boulder Care. And the total NTE is 11.6, which is over $3 million over the total formula. The panel reviewer recommendations are here. It looks like we didn't get very far into reducing it closer to the formula amount. It is still at 11.4. You will see the orange areas, service areas removed from Boulder Care for peer support and harm reduction. Jason, it's 3.4 over. Looking at your priorities, it is these 5 applicants still. And you can tell by looking at the NTE, we're able to get it to 10.48, which is still about 2.8 over, with the reductions you've requested to see, and instituting the $3 million cap per entity gets it to 6.5, which is under the formula, giving you some wiggle room to move it back up. And finally, existing providers only, current burns, Polk County Behavioral Health, which I'm going to carefully assume is the CMHP, and I know someone will correct me if it's not, and Youth Era, noting there is a gap in housing, and bringing the NTE down to 8.2, and then the reductions you have sought to deploy, bringing it way down below formula, which is 8.027. Thanks for confirming, Kathy. Okay. And then here are this is a repeat of the panel review. Back to the left, where would y'all like to start this conversation? Would you like to incorporate new providers, or would you like to focus on existing? Where you want to start? Hunter.
Hey, just an idea. The go up to the priorities. So we're 2.8 over there.
Right.
What if we took that 2.8 from the CMHP?
Which I've highlighted there, row 26, Polk County. Keisha?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. We'll let Jason do some math. Any other thoughts about that? Other ideas?
I just wanted to clarify, is there the OAC priorities, that includes all of the organizations, right?
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
yes. And there it is. So that would be the total. So that would bring Polk County's budget down to $4.139 million and get to the formula amount for this community. Lakeisha?
Me? Oh, I move to move this slide forward, the priority slide with adjustments.
Second.
Okay, Keisha moves to fund the OAC priorities with the adjustments shown in column K, and Hunter seconds. Discussion?
I'm still working out some math, so just the numbers aren't final yet, but
Sorry. Thanks for hollering.
Verify if that motion is correct. I put it in the chat.
Hunter's nodding.
yeah, sorry, there was an error in the sum already, so okay, I'm trying to work it out, but just 1 second.
Fabulous.
Yep, that should be good now.
Great. So it basically reduces Polk County Behavioral Health ask by half, 51%. Any discussion now that you got the final numbers in cream color? Hey, Carly.
Me?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Caroline?
No.
Dharma?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia?
No.
Linda?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 11. Y'all voted on 7 counties today.
There's 11 minutes left.
Stop it.
I think we should look at Sherman.
One more.
Make it 8. Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Okay. I mean, we all have hard stops at 4:30. $1 million. Done. No, got to go through the whole thing. You'll see the panel review was thought, okay, great, let's fund the people at their ask because there's enough money in this community to do that. Your priorities do not need to be reduced because this is already under the formula amount. And both providers are existing. Boulder Care is a provider in Sherman County, and it's the $961,000 in every single chart because it's the same thing. Hunter?
I make a motion to fund any one of those panels because they're all the same.
Second.
So if I may, Hunter moves to fully fund both of the applicants in Sherman County. Okay.
Yes.
Keisha seconds. Any other discussion?
I
Carol?
do. Yes. So the last time we went through this, when counties did not request the amount, we kind of forced it on them. I don't think we should be doing that. If there's any type of savings, I think we ought to save that because I don't know what we would do with it, but I don't think if that's all what Sherman County requested, that's all that they need. So I'm hoping we're not going to go over there and say, well, you have to take the 2 million.
Then
I second that. I mean, some counties have taken significant hits, and if any of that could help alleviate those counties, that'd be great.
anybody else? Mason?
And just to be certain that is like a thing that would be available with extra money.
Yeah, this is you guys are the deciders of where the funds go. That is your reason for today. Yeah.
Just want to make sure there wasn't like some limitation there. That's lovely.
It's going to be hard to decide. It's only $1 million, and if only they were 100 times that. But Dharma and then Keisha.
Yeah, I just want to point out too, with the funds coming back into the fund, they don't necessarily go to any specific county. Like they'd be going back into the fund, generally, and that's only about $2,800 per county if they split it up every county. But it's not necessarily going to all go there. And so I just wanted to point out for folks' clarity that like it doesn't necessarily go to a specific other county just because we decide to not spend it here. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I'm just clarifying.
Keisha.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's not going to any specific county either. And I know the rule is that the money stays in the county, so I don't know if later on down the line we have to, I don't know, change a rule or make a motion or vote for it to go to another county besides the county it's in.
And I can also get clarification. I don't know, is DOJ still here? I know we just have a few minutes left.
I'm still here.
Okay, Shannon, thank you. When a county doesn't request all of their funds, does it need to stay within that county, or can the OAC allocate that where they deem most important?
I think sort of overall, I think that's the OAC decided to do something different, but it can change its mind. So I think that it could, if there's sort of leftover funds given the funding formula, the OAC could decide to change the amounts available in other counties.
We'll keep a bank account, and so far there's just over $1 million in it. Thank you for that, Shannon. Can you show your hand still up? Do you have something else? Oh, she took it down.
No.
Any other comments or discussion before you vote on Sherman County? Caroline. Oh, no.
No, I was trying to look at the chat and I hit the wrong button.
Oh,
I'm trying to see what the motion was. I know what the motion is, but I just like seeing it. It's okay.
that's all right. It's up there just above Carly. Hunter moved and Keisha seconded to fully fund for Sherman County.
Okay.
Okay, Carly, vote please.
Ami,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
Dharma,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Leticia,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
and Zeb.
Yes.
Passes with 14. Makes 10 total counties today.
Caroline?
So can someone answer Kathy's question and who made the motion and who seconded it?
Oh yeah, it's answered there. Hunter.
It's been answered.
Oh, has
Thank
it?
you.
I guess I'm behind again. What can I say?
You and me both. You guys did the last one so fast I couldn't even get my call for conflict written in.
Oh, look at our state is turning green.
Look at that. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Spring is coming.
Really amazing.
It's looking good.
Yeah. There are some beastly conversations upcoming, and that's okay. You guys are, this is a really congratulations. This is super hard. I'm really, really appreciative of all of your collaboration together. Thank you so much. And the panel reviewers need to speed up because they're kind of lagging now, and you're like just running up behind them, like go, 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 go. So Ariana actually just put together, I think, a template that will help activate the cadence of our conversations, which are really deliberative and important. However, oh my goodness, 56 applicants in Multnomah County is going to take a long time, and we need to be done by next Friday. So
Hey, we could have done Wheeler or Walla. Dang. Oh, we only have 2 minutes, huh?
we do only, well, we have
But
four.
you guys also had a tri-chair election in the middle of all of that. So great job.
Seriously, my goodness. Oh my gosh. Thank you all. So love being kind of get to be here with you all as you do this work. Dharma, do you want to take us out?
Sure. Thanks so much again, y'all. This has been a sprint. So just keep on going. We're near the end. Bye, y'all.
Tomorrow, I think. Yeah. All right. Bye.